What's up, guys? Steven here with Steven's Best Loot, coming at you with another video. And we got a fun one today, guys. We got a fun one because we are going to talk about 100-ounce silver bars. So to start with, brought out a few from my personal collection to show you. So we'll do a little show and tell first, and then go through what my opinion is on 100-ounce silver bars and whether or not you should stack them. So to start us off here, this is a Vintage Academy 100-ouncer. Real beautiful bar. Real beautiful bar. I love the pour ripple in the middle there. You can kind of see it's just like such like white shiny silver down in there. Really nice, beautiful bar. Another one that gets a lot of attention anytime I bring it out is the 100-ounce Geiger. If you guys don't know Geiger, really popular mint out there in Germany because they make just some beautiful bars, but they are a little harder to get. You do have to kind of pay up a little bit if you want to get some Geiger silver. You know, importing into the US cost money, and then they're just not as common of a product around, but this is a beautiful 100-ounce Geiger that I've had for quite a while now. Probably had this one going on 5 years, I think, right around there. So beautiful 100-ounce Geiger. Then we got classic 100-ounce pressed Johnson Matthey bar. Nice. This is one of my favorite bars just to kind of hold and play with. That's why I brought this one out. Feels good in your hand. You know, it's nice, thick, exactly what you want 100 ounces of silver to feel like. You know, it's not too irregular shaped or anything, just comfortable. If you got a big hand like mine, that you can just hold it and just appreciate the big old brick of silver. Who knows, we might have some camera bounces on this one, just FYI, because these bars are kind of heavy. If you've never held a 100-ounce silver bar, I highly recommend you hop on down to your local coin shop or your local bullion dealer. Check out some 100-ounce silver bars because they are deceptively heavy. They may look heavy here, but they're heavier than you expect when you pick them up. So I handle quite a bit of them, so I'm not straining too much, but if you haven't held something like this before, in your mind you kind of think it should weigh a certain amount. It weighs like 5 times that, so just FYI. Here we got a Johnson Matthey. This is a Canadian made. You see the Canada in the middle of the assay office stamp there. Beautiful, nice vintage Johnson Matthey, toned up to galore. For those of you that like the toning, here's some little toning going on for you. Beautiful bar. Then we have a shiny Johnson Matthey. This is the SLC stamp, which for those of you that don't know what that stands for, that stands for Salt Lake City. So these are the ones that are made in America. So if you want some American Johnson Matthey, keep an eye out for that SLC stamp, and you'll know that that's good. And then last one I brought out for you guys, this is a Degussa. This is another German mint. You don't see it super often. They don't have a whole lot of collectors in the US that I know of. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of people really jumping after Degussa stuff, but I like all the German silver, and so I decided to hold on to this one in my stack when it came across my plate. So brought out a few from my collection here. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 600 ounces of 100-ounce bars. We got basically 1 trapezoid design and then 3 of the more classic poured brick and 2 pressed squares with the Johnson Matthey and the Geiger there. So now the question is, should you stack a 100-ounce bar? Assuming you can afford to buy a 100-ounce bar, is that something you should be diving into, or is it a bad idea? So I'm going to go through some of the pros and cons and some of the things that I've heard out there from my 15 years or so collecting metals and fears people have. So the biggest fear I would say people have when it comes to 100-ounce bars is you aren't going to be able to sell it. In fact, I did another video not that long ago with different sizes of silver bars, kind of showing some of the different sizes you can buy. And there were even some comments on there that, you know, hey, I like 100 ounces, but you can't sell those if you needed to. So there's always been kind of this thought out in the stacking community that if you have a 100-ounce bar, it's gonna be hard to move. That's a lot of silver to move. So we're gonna go through that. I'm gonna give you my opinion on that. Second big fear and drawback that I've heard over the years for 100-ounce bars is that you're buying too much at once. The best thing to do is dollar cost average with silver, and if you're buying 100 ounces at one time, even though the bars are really cool, you're just simply buying way too much at one time, because if you end up picking up your 100 ouncer when spot is up a bit, like it is right now, I mean, we're down in the short term, but it's definitely up over the last year, then you could be dollar cost averaging yourself into a bad price for your stack and high price silver. And then the third big thing I've heard on why people wouldn't want 100-ounce bars is because if you're going to do some kind of trade in an SHTF type scenario, that 100 ounces is simply too much silver. It's not going to be good for anything. Why would you need that much silver at once? You'd be much better off buying smaller portions. Those are the three kind of arguments I've heard as to why 100 ounces are a bad idea. Now, I'll give you some of the pros on 100-ounce silver. When you're buying 100-ounce silver bars, you're generally able to get a lot lower premium than you would on small individual ounces, especially on some of the more collector pieces. This Geiger 100-ounce bar here, you're going to be able to buy for a lot less per ounce than 10-ounce Geigers, which sell for quite a high premium. Same thing with your vintage Johnson Mattheys. Go take a look at what a Johnson Matthey 10-ounce sells for versus the 100-ounce. Price per ounce, you're always going to be less. Whether you're getting collector silver or just generic 100-ouncers. I didn't really bring out any kind of real basic generic ones. I mean, technically these are all generic in a sense. They're not like government minted or anything, but these all kind of have a different collector appeal and premium to them. So if you're someone that likes to collect nice pieces of silver, it's a great way to get a lower price per ounce. When you're buying a 100-ounce bar, you can get a nice vintage bar for a much lower price per ounce than you would pay on a smaller 10-ounce. The other pro I would say is storage, right? So right here, boom, boom, you put that in your safe, that's 300 ounces, right? One little section of your safe, 300 ounces. Now, if you're out there buying a bunch of different 10-ounce bars and rounds and coins and eagles and proof sets and all sorts of other stuff, by the time you get to 300 ounces, I mean, you could fill this whole table with 300 ounces if you're talking about all that different type of silver. So if you're somebody that's seriously stacking and putting a bunch of weight, you're going to save a lot of room and a lot of space having 100-ounce bars because you do have so much silver stuck into that one bar rather than having 100 individual pieces. You know, if I just put tubes of eagles here, I couldn't fit 5 tubes of eagles. In fact, here, let me grab some real quick. 100 ounces in American silver eagles. That's 5 tubes. So if you talk about what's going to take up more room in your safe, there's your 100-ounce bar. Here's your 100 ounces in American silver eagles, right? So size, price, those are both pretty big pros, right? When you're talking about silver stacking, most of us in this community are looking about, you know, how do I invest for the future? How do I hedge against inflation? How do I build long-term wealth? So being able to store these easily and being able to buy silver at a cheaper price are both big pros. Should you or shouldn't you stack 100-ounce silver bars? My personal opinion is, if you can afford to, I would stack 100-ounce silver bars. And what I mean by if you can afford to is, if you have to save up for a few months to buy one 100-ounce silver bar, then you probably should focus on 10 ounces or something smaller because of dollar cost averaging. If you don't know what dollar cost averaging is, there's a lot of videos out there. I might even put out a video about dollar cost averaging, but basically it means buying over time to give yourself a average lower price. So if you're saving up for months and then you go and buy your 100-ounce silver bar, well, then the dollar cost average argument might be correct, because that might not be the best time to buy that silver. And if you had bought in smaller amounts of silver over that time, you may end up actually having paid less for your 100 ounces than you did when you finally saved up and bought that bar. Now, if you can afford to buy a 100-ounce silver bar when you think it's a good time to buy, or when you have some extra money, then I definitely think it is a good investment and a good way to store some wealth and store some value. So going into some of those cons, we talked a little bit about the cost average. I kind of agree with that con. If you can't afford to buy one of these outright and you have to save for it, but if you come into some money and you want to put it into silver, or if you're able to afford maybe one of these a month, or one of these once a quarter, and you're buying 10 ounces every month or something like that, then I think it's a healthy piece to put into the stack. The first big con we talked about was, well, I'm not going to be able to sell this 100-ounce silver bar. So let's chat about that for a sec, because this is something I hear constantly in the gold and silver community. If I buy a 100-ounce bar, who's going to buy it from me? Who is going to have $3,000, or let's say silver goes up to $50 an ounce? Who's going to have $5,000 to drop on a silver bar? Well, the easy answer is your local coin shop. Your local coin shop, your local bullion dealer, possibly even your local pawn shop. Now, I have a lot of people tell me, oh, I don't think my local coin shop would buy 100-ounce bars. Or I tried to sell a 100-ounce bar one time and my local coin shop didn't buy it. I would argue that in 15 years of buying and trading precious metals, I do not think I've ever met a dealer that, if you're willing to sell silver at their buy price, would say no, as long as it is legitimate silver. Whether that is a 100-ounce bar, a 1,000-ounce bar, 500 of these, they will always end up buying your silver as long as you're willing to sell it at their buy price. Now, their buy price might not be what you want for it. They might be offering 75 cents below spot. Or say we did have some crazy run up to like $50 and it jumped $10 in a week or something like that. They might be buying $5, $6 an ounce below spot. And in that case, you're not going to be able to necessarily get spot for your 100-ounce bar, but that's probably what they're going to be buying 10 ounces and everything else at as well. So it's not a matter of you won't be able to sell the 100-ouncer. It's just a matter of how much you're going to get for it. Most coin shops, most bullion dealers that I know do not pay you significantly less for a 100-ounce bar. In fact, a lot of them pay you the same as they do for 10-ounce bars. I was at a few recently and I asked them what they were paying. It was a quarter under spot for a 10-ounce or a 100-ounce bar. That's what they were paying at the shop I went at. You could bring them in one of these or 100 of these, doesn't matter. That's what they're paying. Now, if you did have a local shopper saying that refused to buy that much silver, that was just too much out of pocket for them, then I would kind of honestly question whether or not you should be doing business with that establishment, because this is not a lot of silver for most bullion dealers. Bullion profit is very, very low. We're talking in the percents to sometimes even in the fractions of the percent. So they have to move hundreds of ounces to make their money. That's how bullion dealers and bullion companies work, and a lot of coin shops. They have to make a lot of money, or they have to sell a lot of ounces to make their money. So 100 ounces really shouldn't be a lot to them. And if you think about most of your local coin shops you go into right now, and they have gold eagles in stock and readily available, and those are trading around $2,000. That's not far off from what a 100-ounce bar is. So if they're unable to purchase a 100-ounce bar, that means they're probably unable to purchase an ounce of gold. And that's not really an establishment that I would want to be doing business with, that I would necessarily trust that they're doing some kind of honest trade, because that should be something that any bullion dealer is capable of doing, buying an ounce of gold or buying 100 ounces of silver. As long as you're willing to pay their buy price, whatever their current buy price is, a quarter under, 50 cents under, a dollar under, whatever it is, if you're willing to sell it for that, they should be willing to buy it. The other thing you have to keep in mind, if you're going to stack a lot of silver and you're worried that you won't be able to sell multiple 100 ounces at the same time, because yeah, Stephen, you're right, they should be able to afford one. But if I start buying these, I'm going to have like 20 or 30 by the time I'm ready to sell, and I don't know if they're going to be able to buy that. Well, the way most bullion dealers work and the way most coin shops work is they have a wholesale agreement with some of the larger wholesalers. And so if I walked into a local coin shop here and brought these 600-ounce bars, well, maybe my local coin shop doesn't sell that many 100-ounce bars. Maybe they only sell like one a month, or one every couple of months. People just don't come in. Their clientele doesn't come in for those. So maybe they don't want all six. What they're going to do is they're going to get on the phone with their wholesaler, and they're going to say, hey, I have 600-ounce bars here. What are you guys paying? And let's say that wholesaler is paying a quarter under spot. Then they're going to come out to me and say, I can buy your 100-ounce bars at 75 cents below spot. So they're going to make 50 cents for every ounce, so $50 on each one of these bars. It's 100, 200, 300. They're going to make $300 just by buying these bars up from me, putting them into a box, and mailing them to their wholesaler. That's how the majority of the bullion business works. That's how most of your local coin shops and stuff operate. And that's why they're always willing to buy anything really that walks in the door, as long as it tests to be real gold or silver. So I would take that concern out of your mind if that is something keeping you from buying and stacking 100-ounce silver bars. The only con we haven't talked about yet is, in a SHTF scenario, how am I going to divide up this 100-ounce brick for barter and trade? Well, simply put, you won't be able to easily, at least not in any marked way. You could, of course, melt it down and use it for other things, or make your own coinage or something like that for bartering. But in reality, if that's why you're stacking gold and silver, let's think about gold for an instance. This is roughly close to the value of 1 ounce of gold. It's worth more than 1 ounce of gold right now, but they're both in the thousands of dollars range. This is 3,000. Those are, ounce of gold's about 2,000. So if you're stacking an American Gold Eagle, but you wouldn't stack a 100-ounce bar, well, that doesn't really make sense, because the same things you could barter a 1 ounce gold coin for is the same type of ballpark of thing that you could barter your 100-ounce silver bar. The second point I have to that is, if you're one of those stackers that are stacking for SHTF type scenario, global apocalypse, everything's gone crazy, well, why wouldn't you be melting this down? Right? Because silver is not only for barter, it's got a lot of other uses: medicinal, electricity conducting, other things. So you need silver beyond just a bartering tool. You need it as a survival tool to rebuild civilization, or to build a habitat for you and your family. So if you want something that's going to conduct electricity really well, you want something that is antimicrobial to be able to put on burns or severe wounds or something like that, you could be melting these bars down and making, your own silver foil or things like that. I won't get into like colloidal silver and doing all that kind of stuff, but there are plenty of uses for the 100-ounce bar. So I think the main reason to not purchase 100-ounce silver bars is if it's a stretch for you financially. And that is the case with everything when it comes to investing. including in precious metals. You should never overextend yourself financially. Always invest what you can afford to lose. I don't think silver will ever go to zero, but silver could go down. Silver could go down. I don't personally think it's going to in the near term, but it could. I could be wrong, and a lot of the other stackers could be wrong. It could go down. So if it is stretching you financially to buy a 100-ounce silver bar, I wouldn't. If you aren't buying any silver and you have to save up for months to buy a 100-ounce silver bar, and then you're putting all of your silver in one purchase and not dollar cost averaging, then I also wouldn't buy one. But if you're looking to put $3,000 to $5,000 a month into your precious metal stack, and you're thinking about occasionally buying a 100-ounce bar, I would 100% do it. I think it's a safe investment. I've personally traded dozens of 100-ounce bars. Most serious stackers and serious collectors enjoy 100-ounce bars just like they enjoy every other piece of silver. That's my opinion. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic down below. If you think I'm crazy, let me know. If you agree and you think I'm a genius, let me know too. Otherwise, guys, appreciate a sub. Check out my other videos, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Have a great day. Keep on stacking strong. Talk to you later.